Hello and welcome to Martinsville. My name is Justin. I'm the owner of Team 53. I've partnered with Coach Dave Academy and Impel Motorsports to bring you this week's Learn to Drive video for C Fixed at Martinsville as part of iRacing's 2025 Season 2 Week 2 official series action. If you guys are new to the channel, please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. I race here locally in Wisconsin. I'm a late model driver. My daughter Sydney's 12. She wants to race go-karts. And every like, every subscribe, every video view that we can get helps us, especially when we go to sponsors, to be able to say, look, we've got your logo against showing across all these other platforms as well as at the track activation. So huge help there. We are going to try out a CFix video. It's something we tried out Arca last week. It did phenomenal, primarily because it's a brand new car. But I want to try out some CFix stuff. And just a little bit about me. I am a 12-year veteran of iRacing. I started out primarily running C-Fixed. I gained I rating from, rookie, well, 1500, all the way up to about 57, 5400, somewhere in there. And then I quit iRacing for a little bit, came back, ran some C-Fixed, and went over to the short track side and went from 5400 all the way up to 7500, which is where I'm at now. Um, so I have some familiarity with the trucks and coming back to it. It's just going to be all about finding that rhythm. And Martinsville is a rhythm track. I've watched a lot of C-Fixed races from here over my time, C Opens, a lot of eNASCAR stuff, and you guys are absolutely terrible when it comes to short tracks. And I do mean that with all due respect. Absolutely terrible. So we're going to talk about some Racecraft stuff. We're going to talk about just some things with Martinsville that you guys really, in my opinion, could work on, but also kind of help you guys get around the track a little bit better. So we're going to head out here for qualifying. Tire heat is super important in iRacing. It's really difficult to get away with in C-Fix trucks because they turn the qual scrutiny up a little bit on you. So we're going to do a little bit of a burnout, and then we're going to do a little gas brake alternate swerve. On the short track side, we call it cheesing. So just enough, and you got to be going fast enough here in NASCAR so that they don't call you out on it. We're going to go high here in 3 and 4. Lap 1's really not going to matter. And before we get too far into that, let's take a look here in my garage to chassis. Here are kind of the adjustments that I've made. I actually went up to 64% front brake bias on here, but we have a 10-to-1 steering ratio, 4-degree offset, 64 front brake bias. So what we did, 10 to 1 steering ratio. When you turn into the corner, I like to have a little bit quicker wheel than what typical NASCAR drivers do. So I go with a 10 to 1. It's a little bit heavier wheel, gives me a little bit quicker response time. For every 10 degrees of my steering wheel turning in, I get 1 degree of actual car wheel turn, right? So that's what I did there from the 12 to 1, just so I don't have to go as far to the left with my wheel. iRacing, I think default steering ratio might be a plus 10, might be a plus 0. I went to plus 4. That's what I run on the short track side. That's what I'm comfortable with. You run whatever your heart desires on it. You want a negative 30, run a negative 30. I don't care. It makes zero difference in your speed. It's all about driver comfort. And then front brake bias, I increased my front brake bias because I felt like when I went into the corners, the rear end was just stepping out on me a bunch. So I increased this a whole bunch just to kind of get me a little bit tighter on entry so that when I went under braking, the rear end didn't want to step out. The car felt really planted and I could get it to rotate a lot better. So here we go. Lap 1 is just kind of a throwaway lap. If you're new to iRacing or if you're looking to upgrade your equipment, Impel Motorsports are a big supporter of mine. Great place to go. They've got Moza products R3 up to an R21, um, as well as they should have some sim rigs here soon. So you can see here, 3 and 4 I go high, and now I'm going to get a huge run down this front straightaway. And we're going to measure our speed here at the start-finish line. Speed at the start-finish line is going to be 113 miles an hour. So this is a good way to measure how much speed you're going to be able to carry on your course of your lap. I'm at 113. I felt like I left a little bit of time on the table there, but this is my best Q lap, so we'll let it go. Now, one thing you guys, make sure you're up against the wall. A lot of times I watch guys and they're down, a half a lane. Martinsville's a little bit easier because you got these dash lines all the way around it. So match with your FOV and just kind of get as close to the wall as you can. Take a look. For me, It's just kind of over the little air scoops on, or what would be air scoops on the hood of the car or of the truck. Works out well for me. I have triple monitors, so my left monitor is set with my window net right where it is in my real car. I absolutely love it. So right here when we get into this NASCAR sign, that's where we're signage on the wall. That's where we're going to really start to think about our corner. We get just past it and we're going to lift and brake so when the inside pops up. So we think about corner, then we act. Heavy braking to get the car slowed down or the truck slowed down, and then we get into the corner. I enter middle. Some guys will enter shallower, some guys will enter wider. I like a nice middle entry into the corner. We're going to release brake, and you want to get this truck turned down into the corner and get it as close to this curb as you possibly can. Right through center, I start feeding it throttle, and it's going to stick for me. It drives straight off. We get tight up against this outside wall just like we are on the front stretch. Looks fairly similar in terms of positioning. And then just like the front stretch, when we start to see the NASCAR, this is where I start to think about the corner, but I'm going to ignore it because I got the pit entry. So we start to turn in as the pit entry becomes better view. We're braking and we're going to enter a little bit higher, you see here, into 3 and 4. For whatever reason, I always enter higher into 3 and 4 and it works out better for me. Carry the brake through the corner. We're going to diamond the corner just a tick, and then we're going to throttle up and use that throttle to drive the truck back down the track and off the corner to get us a 19206. That was probably my best Q lap. I think I have an optimal of like a 164. I just couldn't put it together. And there's going to be situations where you guys are racing where you just can't put it together, and you got to be okay with that. Race trim wise, we got it down to a 194. But my laps were not super consistent. And I was really pushing and trying. I was trying out different things and trying to see. But your race laps are going to look almost exactly like your Q laps are. You're not really going to, if you get a lot of cautions, you won't need to worry about tire saving or anything like that. But let's kind of talk through some things that you can really do to help out your runs. So you heard me talk about brake bias. A big thing here is going to be setting a button under options. We'll go back. Options, control, set your brake bias. That's going to get you the ability to adjust it on the fly in the car. I just have like a little knob on my steering wheel that I have set with my brake bias so that I can turn that. I go to the left is a smaller percentage, to the right is a bigger percentage. It fits in my brain. So that usually helps me out there. And then the other thing that I like to do is go to my options and I like to turn on the split time delta bar. And you guys will kind of see why here in a minute. So split delta, I set buttons on my wheel so that I can tab over from them. I can set it session best lap, whatever you want. I don't display the reference car only because it only shows up in testing. And I kind of find it a little distracting. I used to run with it all the time. But the delta bar is really good for you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go hop in the car and we're going to kind of talk through, well, let's look at these laps first. Let's look at this lap. So at Martinsville, the best way to pass, there's really two primary passing zones, entry to corner and exit. Guys who pass on entry, if you're going to use that, make sure you're showing entry down the front stretch so this guy knows, hey, I want to pass. I want this lane going into the corner. So he's kind of prepared for it. Don't be surprised, too, in a lot of these lower splits, if you show bottom and you outbrake the guy into the zone, if he doesn't react the way you think and he bounces off you and causes a caution. So the big thing is making sure you show them that you want to be low before they get there. And if they shade down to block, then you know, all right, you've got a choice to make. I can either go lower or I can respect that, back off, and get outside. And then what you're going to do there, right, if they move down and you pull back up, you want to take your normal line. He's going to park it here in center because he's got to brake a lot more to make this corner. So you're going to want to back off and time your run so that when it comes time to coming off this corner, you can be right on his bumper as you guys are coming off, and you can actually get underneath him down the backstretch. And then if you're a smart driver, you'll go into the corner, you'll brake, and you'll just kind of diamond him up the track and kind of bully him up the track, so to speak, and then pull back down, and you should be able to clear him. But you have to be careful when you're doing that because it's Martinsville and it's eNASCAR. And you guys more so than short track drivers, will haul off into the next corner and just flat out dump a guy. So if you're going to drive, a little bit more aggressive and push guys up the track, you've got to be prepared for the dump. Um, some things that you can do for that is just kind of keep your wheel as straight as possible and be ready for it. Brake maybe a little bit earlier so that you're not as heavy under braking when he lifts up your rear end. Um, but you just got to be ready for it. And that's what happens in eNASCAR is you pass a guy clean, the next quarter they just haul off and dump you. The other thing that you can do is you can say, all right, I know you're going to go full send into this corner. I'm going to drive up a lane. And if you want to get underneath me, that's fine. I'm going to be able to clear you on exit because you're underneath me. So kind of keep that in mind too, right? Is that if somebody does that, you've got that space. Um, the other thing is that Martinsville is really narrow. So when wrecks happen off corners, guys get loose, they spin out, the track tends to get blocked. So you just really got to be very careful. I use an app, and it's kind of an older app now, but it's called Sim Racing Apps. You can download it online, but they have this nice track map. And when there's a bunch of people on track, when I'm in a session or whatever, as long as I have this open and it's loaded, it will show me in bubbles all the way around the track where everyone is. So if there's somebody stopped on track, I can see, oh, there's cars stopped in 3. The other cool thing is if you have damage, it will tell you where the pace car is. So if the pace car is, coming off 4 and you're sitting in your pit stall here in 1, you know I got to go so that I don't lose a lap. And that's going to be big here at Martinsville, repairing damage, making sure you don't lose a lap. So just kind of wanted to have that there to show you guys. The big thing with Martinsville is going to be driving into the corner and just not overdriving entry. When you overdrive entry, the rear end gets really light and it'll wreck. So you just really, really have to watch that and be aware of that. But let's hop in here. Let's do a couple laps in the car. Sorry for that noise. My keyboard tray, I was moving that out of my way. But let's just turn a couple laps here and kind of see what we've got. So the big thing, like I said, for especially the first couple laps, is when the tires are really cold, this truck, the rear end likes to snap out. So we've got our brake bias set. Here's where you can adjust it on the fly if you needed to. We can go down 3% or we can go up 3%. So some of you guys will want to leave room to go down. So maybe what you'll do is you'll start your brake bias at, like what I've done. I know I probably won't need to tighten this car up anymore, or this truck up. So my brake bias is set pretty much maxed out, and then we'll just kind of try and go down. But if we're really looking at a long run for here, you don't want to try and go full tilt. Probably about a tenth a lap off of your optimal best is really what you're going to be looking for. Maybe 2/10 to really save tire. So you just kind of got to be aware of that. And that's where using this time delta bar is really, really important. You can see here I've got it up, and I know exactly how fast I'm going at every point, where I'm losing time. Got a little loose on entry to 3 there.
19.284.
So there I had left front lockup. You could hear it lock up. You could visibly kind of see the truck float a little bit. And that's what you really want to avoid, is that lockup. Just nice and smooth into the corners and out. Really work on your rhythm.
19.306.
There's a much better lap. So you can see here, after a couple laps, the truck really starts to come in and we can get some really good laps. Even with me talking there, we just went basically same speed.
198.
And this is really what I was missing before, was consistency. So there you can see, just overcook the brake. Just a little too hard on entry there, and it's going to skate on you. So really make sure that you're not driving in too deep. There's like a little dark spot going into 1 that I kind of have aimed out as my brake point. 3 is just kind of there where the track kind of gets darker. Way slow there. But you can see already after 5, 6, 7 laps, the truck has already started to lose some pace. See if we can get some of that back. Starting to get a little tight on exit. And so that's where we're going to take and we're going to do a brake bias click. right here. We're just going to do one click of brake bias.
0.395.
And now it feels a lot better. Drove it in way too deep there, but we're able to hold on to it. So really the moral of this run is don't try and drive it in too deep because you're going to lose it.
0.423.
And if you're getting loose going on entry and the car's just spinning out, back up your brake zone and you should be okay. And that's coming from a CFix veteran to another CFix veteran. If you are driving it in too deep, you will spin out. So best of luck this week for you guys. Like I said, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you guys turn out with views and likes and subscriptions like we did for the ARCA car, we'll definitely continue to do this. I'd like to keep doing CFix truck videos. I think it's a good avenue, but we got to have people watching and people subscribing. So head over to team53racing.com if you're interested in going over to the short track side. We do a 5-car season pass, $53, access to all 5 of the major short track cars over there. Head over to our Facebook page, give us a like, join our Discord. We always love having people in our Discord, whether you like to race NASCAR, road course, whatever. Head on over and we will see you guys in the next video.